Thank you for that, Steve. We can continue. We've got a few questions around Lexel. One of them says, my firm is currently working towards Lexel. Should we continue at present, or are things going to change? Another question is, how does this proposed approach interact with Lexel? So a few questions around Lexel there, David. Should we take those?
Yes, this is something we've been asked before, and we think Lexel and quality standards of that sort are an excellent way for firms to improve their systems and risk management by carefully analysing and changing the way they do things. There's no specific tie-up between Lexel accreditation and the approach we're taking at the moment, but we have been asked, and I think we will consider taking a positive view and possibly amending our assessment of a firm because of Lexel accreditation. Does that cover the points that we've been asked?
I think so, David. Certainly, if you've got Lexel or you're working towards Lexel, it will stand you in good stead in terms of having systems and procedures in place for good supervision and control. So it's certainly something that firms should be looking at in terms of quality marks, if that is something that works for you.
There's one question down here saying, is it likely that relationship management will help to reduce PII premiums? Well, I think the best people to ask that are your brokers and your insurers. I know that some insurers and brokers have encouraged firms to look closely at risk management and produce risk registers. So if you are able to demonstrate how you are dealing with these matters and demonstrate positive changes you have taken as a response, I can only think that would be an advantage, but I can't translate that into anything further, I'm afraid.
Okay. Shall we continue taking these questions, David?
Are there any oral questions pending?
There are no oral questions at this time.
Okay, let's carry on with the emails.
Quite a few for us to pick. It's great that so many of you have some questions. Let's just scroll down here and have a look at what else we have.
There was an interesting one. We have, for those of you who can't see this, which everyone's tuning in, we have a lot of questions here, and we're just trying to pick ones which we think are maybe helpful. There's one that says, does the SRA consider the impact it has on the time of small practitioners? And asking whether we can in some way ease up in the current economic climate. Well, I understand that in the current circumstances, many practitioners are faced with, well, I've already mentioned, concerns about renewal, possible loss of public-funded work, competition from new types of business, let alone just doing the work that you have been asked to do to a high quality by your clients. So we are aware of this, and one of the reasons for moving to outcomes-focused regulation is to simplify the rules. We want to make regulation easier, based on principles rather than prescriptive, detailed rules, and I think that has to be in a sole practitioner's interest. As regards the time we're asking you to put into our requirements, one of the other things coming down the line is a new way of submitting information to the SRA, which will be an aggregative or a cumulative process. So hopefully you won't have to each year repeat some of the things that you've told us the year before. That's one practical way that we will help you cut down on the time you have to spend. And relationship management or other types of supervision are going to be focused on where the risks are. So if you have a well-run, low-risk practice, then we will try very hard not to cause you unnecessary loss of time or effort. I hope that's some comfort.
Also, just to add that we are very mindful of impact, both on small firms but on the profession as a whole. And because of that, we're looking at many different types of impact assessments, including equality impact assessment, we're looking at human rights, we're looking at cost-benefit assessment. So all of these things are being considered by the SRA because we are very mindful of the impact that it's going to have on practitioners across the piece, and we will be publishing our findings and certainly taking steps to mitigate against anything that is going to be of significant impact. So the SRA is mindful of that, and I hope that gives you some reassurance of that.
I'm going away from to a very practical question now. Somebody's asked, how do we get in touch to make an application, as it's impossible to respond to the email I received? Well, it's a very practical question. At the end of the slides, which we'll move on to, you'll find the Relationship Manager email address. If you want to get in touch, that will be a prime way of doing so, or the contact centre, if you are unable to access that, would direct you to us. So that I hope answers that very practical question.
On another very practical question, somebody's asking us about whether this is going to be available on a podcast.
Well, I'm not sure we're up to podcast, but we're going to make a recording. We are making a recording of this broadcast, which we hope will be available during the course of next week on the Freedom in Practice page of the SRA website.
Okay. We're coming up to about 25 past. I wonder, David, whether we should move on to the final few slides or take another question.
Well, it may be, given what we've just said, if we just move through some of the slides so people can see the Relationship Manager email address, and we'll try to get the best of one or two more questions and our last slides as best we can. We're just trying to, there we go. So we're going to move on to the next slides. I think we may have covered some of these off already.
I think that we've covered a fair few of those, David.
So let's move on from that. Okay, future communications and engagement with the profession to date. I'm not sure we've covered all of that in detail, but during the course of the last several months, our team has been meeting both on a firm-to-firm basis, individual visits. We have met with interest groups of all sizes and types of market. We continue to do so. This is the first webinar we've undertaken for sole practitioners and small firms, but we have also broadcast something for the larger firms. So that's the type of engagement with the profession, and we also deal with individual inquiries that come into us. So we feel we're getting out and about as much as possible. Plans for the future, Solicitors?
As part of the SRA's engagement policy, we've got more webinars lined up on a variety of different things. So that might be something that firms wish to do if that suits them in terms of their time and availability. We have also done in the past road shows which firms can attend to listen to details of our consultation papers, and we find that to be an excellent way to contact firms and to capture feedback, which can shape the way that the SRA is going to be working. All those are still possible, and we are very keen to continue to engage with the profession, and actually it would be helpful if the profession has a particular preferred method of being contacted. If there are local law societies, for example, that would like us to contact them and to engage with them, we're very keen and pleased to hear about them. So please do contact us. It's not just about us coming to you. You might have some ideas about how we could engage with you more directly, so we're very open to hear from you.
I think if we move to the next slide, I mentioned the email address. If you do need to contact us, either with a particular query or if you're interested in joining the pilot, that's the way to do it. And we will aim to email out to people who have participated today either a list of the sort of frequently asked questions or some link to access them, so that those people who've very kindly contributed questions today but that we've not had time to deal with will be able to get an idea of what our position is on those points. So unless you have anything else to say, Sakitra, I think we'll probably move to wrap up right now.
No, David, I don't have anything further to add, just to say thank you for participating. We hope you found it helpful. We will be circulating some feedback forms. We'd very much appreciate your feedback on this webinar and perhaps details of what else you might like to hear about in the future.
Good. Well, thank you very much for participating. We hope this will, as I say, will be the first of many webinars. Thank you for your participation and look forward to engaging with you in the future.
Many thanks.